Hey everyone, Tony from Hearns, here to bring you something special, a little bit different from my usual build videos and stuff like that. You're probably looking at this thing and thinking, what the hell is that? It looks like a photocopier or something like that. Close, similar manufacturer. What I'm going to do today is show you how I do the vinyl cut stencils or masks or whatever you want to call them that I use when I'm painting. This is the machine that helps me do it. This is a Brother Scan and Cut SDX 1000. Retail price, not really sure. Mine came from Spotlight and I think I paid just under $300 for it. If you're keen on buying something like this, then it pays to look around. Spotlight sometimes have 50% off sales and stuff like that, and I think I might have got mine on a sale. I can't remember. They're readily available. I think normal price is in the 300s. Can't say I've looked for a while. And it does more than just cut vinyl masks for RC cars. You can use it. It will even cut wood, cork, cardboard, stuff like that. It's very, very versatile. So what you can do is sell it to your missus and the kids as, oh, you can use this to do your crafty projects and stuff like that. I tried that, didn't work. My missus didn't fall for it, but she let me buy it anyway. It's a big dollar item, but it's the sort of thing you could probably maybe get together with a couple of your mates, if you've got any, and go in a part each, half each or something. But it's something that I couldn't live without now. Some people say that using the vinyl masks is, it's cheating when you're painting. Well, that's just rubbish. I use it purely because it saves me time. It doesn't do anything that I can't do myself by hand anyway, but it just saves a bit of time, particularly if you're doing repeat stuff where you're repeating the same thing a number of times. With this, you can just print out the masks, off you go, and you've got them there, and you can keep the files there forever if you need to go back and do it. So for me, it's invaluable. My time is worth more than worrying about what people say about that I'm cheating. I'm not cheating. This is just what I do. So open it up. There's the front, the rollers, feed tray, and we have touchscreen here. Now what I'm going to do now is turn it round, so you'll be seeing most of what you need to see from the top when I do it. But I had it front on so you could see it initially. So it's pretty weighty. It wasn't much fun bringing it in to the shop this morning, I can tell you. Yeah, I'm gonna put that down. I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to read what comes up on the touch screen, but there's not a lot I can do about that. Plug it in. Right, plugged in. Ooh. Trying to get a balance here between making it viewable for you and me being able to see standing here. We'll turn it on. Aha. I think that might be good. Yes, that's coming up quite well. I'm going to look at this as, I'm just going to show you the process about how this works, what to do. I'm not going to give you the exact ins and outs of what to do. That would end up being a 2-hour video and it just wouldn't be worth it. Going to hit the home button. Right, that's where we start. Now, what I've done, the important thing about this is you can input CAD data straight from a CAD output or a graphics software like Corel or Adobe, but for your average person who just wants something easy, you can scan in anything and the machine will convert it. Obviously the final output depends on the quality of your initial scan, so the better you've got it together. I've just made up this, some flames and the Hearns racing logo. I'm going to scan that in and then we're going to output that as a cut file onto the vinyl. Now you'll notice that the lettering is backwards. The reason for that is because we're using it as a paint mask, so it's going to go on the inside of the shell. Now this is way too big for this shell. I admit this is a shell I just found down on the floor before, so we'll get to that later. Now you can't just put this through. It needs to go on an adhesive mat. This is the adhesive mat. This is a Brother adhesive mat. I'm just going to load this onto the mat. You probably just see me off the corner of the screen. This has got a low tack adhesive on it. It's just enough to hold the thing on and it stops it moving. That's the whole point of it. So it stays in the one place when it's being scanned. Now, you can see here I've got it loaded up now. I have to do the initial load. What it does when it does the initial load is it reads all this code up here and it tells it what it's doing. So I hit that there. Okay, it's happy with that. See, I'm going to do it again because that didn't load properly. It went a little bit off. It's now. Oh, it's good that you can actually read what's on the thing. I like that. Okay, we've got a bit of a fault here, so we're going to turn that off and do it again. You can see now what's happened. It hasn't liked that. It will unload. It's probably done this because the machine's been in my car on the way in and it's been jostled around a bit. Okay. Turn it back on again. Stop beeping at me. I'm a bit impatient now. I want the thing to work. It doesn't normally do this. Normally it's just go. That's better. We're going to hit the scan button. The option here is scan to cut data, which means that once we scan it, we can then store that file in the machine and then put the vinyl into cut afterwards. We're just going to hit okay on that. And now you'll see the machine take it through. It's coming out the other end. And now it's coming back. It's going through, it's tabulating all the data. Now you can see it turn up here. That's now, I've now got the option I'll just hit that. What I've done now is I've hit that, which then says to the machine, what I want is everything. I want all the lines, the internal lines, the external lines. You've got other options too, which is just the outside and everything. Well, I never want that. I want everything. Grab here, and I'm now going to tell the machine I don't want all that stuff off to one side. There's just, that's good. No, I need, that's better. Now what we've got here is the smoothing. The machine will automatically smooth areas it thinks are a little bit too jagged or anything. I don't want that. I want it to do it exactly as it is. So I'm going to turn the smoothing down to off. I'm going to hit preview. That's okay. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I can't see the flames. They're not in black, and I don't think it's actually recognised them completely. So I'm just going to change the settings. That's better. Yes. I hit preview. We're good. Basically, the machine was telling me, hey, you've missed a little bit of that, so it isn't incorporating it. All right, that's all good. Check the smoothing again. Sometimes it defaults back to it's off. That's okay. That's okay. It's now processing. It's giving me the options here. I can transmit it via Wi-Fi to my home PC or something onto USB, or here it's saving it to the actual machine itself. So that's done. We've now scanned it and we're good. I'm going to hit the home button now. We go back. I'm going to put that out. So we've done the scan part. Now comes the fun. Just go off screen for a moment. Okay, I've now got the vinyl. This is the one that I use. If we turn it around here, you'll see this is Mask. This is the, I suppose, the gold standard in terms of masking film for stuff like this. You can put it on the body shell, leave it on there for some time. It won't leave any residue and it'll come off cleanly. It's really good. I've experimented with a lot of different ones. I've tried cheap stuff and everything. It's just not worth it. It's really crap. So it's the one I recommend. This has come off a roll, so it's sort of taking a bit of a shape to it. I've flattened it overnight and it's still not very good. You can get A4 sheets and stuff like that. I'd recommend get them if you can. This was all I could get a little while back, so I'm sort of stuck with it. Again, we mount this on to the adhesive mat. This adhesive mat has done a lot of use. As a consequence, it's losing some of its adhesion, so it's getting near the end of its life. You have to consider the adhesive mats to be a bit of a consumable, but this one's had a good 6 to 9 months, so I don't think it's too excessive. So we've got that there. Now we've got to load again. Now once again, didn't go in too straight. Just fix that up. And I need to redo the mat. You can actually use a bit of adhesive tape to hold this. Use a clear adhesive tape and it will hold it. So push that down so that it's engaged. That should be better. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to retrieve that file that we just created. So I'm retrieving the data from the machine itself. I've got some previous files there. This is the one we wanted. Just checking that out, that looks okay. We're going to hit the OK here. You've got the option here to edit things. You can go in if there's little blobs or bits of stuff that you don't actually want. You can go in and the software will allow you to delete those bits. I've got a pretty clean file, so I probably won't need to do that. There are other options here in terms of the speed that you're going to cut. You've got options to bet how far the machine will cut through. I have it set by default to go halfway through, so the machine works out what the halfway mark is, so it'll cut the top, the vinyl, but won't cut into the bottom. I don't know how it does it, it's magic. There's other options too. I'm not going to go into that now, you don't need to know it. I'm going to hit OK. Please select cut. There's a draw option too, because you can use this to draw things. You'll see speed is 2, half cut on. Says it's going to take 4 minutes. You can test it. I never do that. What I'm going to do is hit start. And you can now see the machine starting. It's whoa. We've had an issue there. We're going to unload. We've now had it move. This is interesting. At least you guys have got to see what happens when things go wrong. That looks better. Let's try again. That's better. Now you'll notice I'm actually holding it because it's pretty obvious that the vinyl and the mat are moving around a little bit. So I'm just holding it lightly to make sure that it doesn't move too much. Now I've got the cut speed set at fairly low at the moment. That's because the last thing I did, I wanted a large degree of accuracy, so I wanted to make sure it was going to work properly, so I set it pretty low. You can do it a lot quicker than this. It says it's going to take 3 minutes. So you can just sit here with me and watch this. I can see that it's already cut the flames out. Now it's moving on to the Hearns racing thing. Okay, yep. Wanted me to change the setting. I had the machine set up the other day for doing a really big long print. So it has a roll feeder that you attach to it, so you can do big long ones. And I think the setting I've got on the side was still set for that. So I wasn't happy with that. We're at the 2-minute mark now. I'll definitely need to get myself a new adhesive mat. This one is past its prime. This might look to be a long, complicated process if you're going, oh, I can't have the time to do that. It's still quicker than cutting the mask by hand. And if you're not standing here explaining it and you're just going through and banging it through, you know, the whole thing normally takes 5 minutes. It's working much better now. After this, we're done with the machine and we're going to move on to weeding the mask. That's what it's called when you actually remove all the extra material from the mask and just leave the bits that you want. We've got a minute to go here. One thing I will recommend, another good reason for using the Aura mask, is the blue colour. Makes it, when you're weeding it, you can easily see what you've taken away and what you've got left. If you use a white vinyl to cut, you can't see what you've taken away. Okay, that's a success. We'll hit the OK button there. We'll hit the home button. Is it ready to go? Yep, we're done. And that's out. We'll pull that out, push that down, and we're going to turn the machine off now. Put that away. We don't need you anymore. We're going to unplug it. And move it off to the side. Take that off, move that aside. You've got to try and put it somewhere where you're not going to get dust and crap on that, only because that lessens the life of the adhesive mat by quite a bit. You might be able to see here, I'm not sure. What I'm going to do is just run a line with the hobby knife down the centre here. Now, the masks you create are either a negative or a positive mask. Now, in both these cases here, they're going to be a positive mask, in that the part that you put onto the car will actually be not the, how do I say this? How about I just pull this back and I'll explain it better then. This is positive, because the bit you're going to put on the car is masking what you want. You can see here, the flames, very easy. You need to take your time with this. It's a little bit scary, and sometimes you need the help of the hobby knife to get it done. Just take your time, don't fret. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you have to do it again. There's that one done. Now I just need to pull up Just one little piece. Flames. Done. Now, the Hearns one, I know from experience, having done this one a number of times, is a little bit more complex. I'll just take off some excess here, because you want to be pulling off as little as you can. Now, in this instance, the lettering is slanted that way. So I know from experience that it's better for me to pull from this way. I get ready with the hobby knife because some bits are going to pull up. So you want to be able to just put the knife there to avoid that happening. Now, these straight lines underneath here, trying to pull them up at the same time as everything else is difficult. You'll end up with your own way of doing this. This is how I do it. It's by no means the only way. And you just need a bit of patience. Something that most of us don't have now. We want everything done quickly. Making sure you've got good light is another thing. You need to be able to see what's happening. Now I can see here that this is lifting up, so I just put the knife in just to preempt it coming up. Okay, we've got most of that done. You'll very likely end up with bits of stuff stuck to you all over the place. Sometimes it helps to have someone else help you out with it. Okay. Going to keep pulling back here. As you can see here, the quality of the cut that you get from the machine is really, really good. You can cut down to sections that are like 1 to 1/2 mil, and it will do the job. And considering that's coming from a scanned image, it's really amazing. It's better than the quality I used to get off my old machine, which used only CAD data. That said, that was 20 years old, so. And the fact that this is just a normal consumer thing and it can be used for more than just toy car masks, it's pretty amazing. I've now got it stuck to my finger, but we're on the last stretch. Stuff doesn't like to give up in a hurry. Done. Now comes the annoying bit, just getting rid of the centres out of the letters. Just do it one bit at a time. You must have a sharp blade. Try doing this without a sharp blade and you'll be in a world of pain. That one done. And do that. I think this is the last one. No, there's a little one in the G. Now, I don't know whether you can even see that. That is so tiny, but the machine is capable of cutting it out. You know, these things are, it's hard to believe how good these are. Right, now you're looking at that thinking, how the hell do I get that onto the car? This is where transfer tape comes in. Now, This is transfer tape. That's what I call it. I think that's what most people call it. We're just going to undo some from the roll here. It sticks to itself really well, so it takes forever to get it off. So we're now going to, it's just starting to lift up on one end. This is another part where it's nice to have a second pair of hands, just so you can watch it. How much do we need? About that much. Now we should be able to cover both of these with one lot. Okay, that will do it. Okay, this goes down here. When I first started using the masks, I had no idea what to do or how to do it. I had to kind of work it out myself, because it wasn't, this was back in the days, pre-internet almost. So I couldn't just go on YouTube and find out how to do it. I had to work it out. Eventually I did. This is just a squeegee that you use for putting body filler on cars. Just a plastic one. Now, once you've got it on initially, you want to go on and push it down as hard as you can. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm going to cut off the excess. Pretty sure a lot of you are going, yeah, I can't be bothered doing this. And that's fine. But if you want to give it a try and you know where to start, hopefully this video will help you out. And I'm going to cut that in half. Probably won't use the flames. I'll probably just put the Hearns one on, even though it's way too big. Again, making sure that it adheres to the transfer film, particularly in the really small areas. Now, I've got this body shell here, sorry, camera up there. I'm not sure what this is. No idea. Like I said, it was, oh, it's a bitty design. Oh, it's an Eptron. Sorry, Stefana. So, looks like it's been cut by someone with a pair of garden shears. I suspect Brett. Anyway, there it is. Just excuse me while I have another drink. This is not professional. Okay, now we need to peel this up. I'm just going to give it one last rub with the squeegee. Now what happens here is, in theory, the vinyl should pull up with the transfer tape, but little bits of it will get stuck to the backing tape. So again, we just do it slowly, so you can see one here straight away. Just get in here, lift it up, and you need to watch this all the way along. Sometimes they'll peel up beautifully, sometimes they won't. This one, it's not too bad, I've seen worse. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. As we pull it up very slowly. You want to make sure it doesn't fold under and get stuck to itself. If it does, you're in a world of pain and you'll probably have to start again. That's why I'm lifting it up as I go along. This has come up pretty well. There's just a few little bit done. We now have the Hearns Racing, because we're paint mask. I've used this on a number of paint jobs that I've done here for the shop. What we do now, let's assume that we've already cleaned the body shell. Now I know this is going to be too big, but I'm just going to show you how it works anyway. We'll cut off this excess, which I should have done before. It's ready to go. Now, because we put it down here, when we paint it, it'll be the correct way around. You just line it up, get it as straight as we can, and running over it onto the wheel well, but that doesn't really matter. So you can see now, we've got that in here. I just use my fingers for this part, but if it's a nice flat area, you can use the squeegee. Get it in there. Now again, you need to be careful when you're pulling this up, the same as when we pulled it off the backing. Just go slow, but most of the time you'll find that this sticks on really, really well, as it is this time. We're pulling that away, and that's beautiful. Now, what I usually do at this point is get a hairdryer and just run it over here just to soften it up a little bit and make sure I get the material to sit as flat as possible, particularly over the areas where there's little ridges, like on the door cut lines and other things. So just not too high a heat, just a little bit of heat, just enough to soften it a little bit. You do that and you've got a perfect paint mask. I'm going to hold it up. He says, looking desperately for something white to hold behind it so you can see. And there's the original. And there it is. And that is your paint mask ready to go. Now that's taken me 42 minutes to show you how to do that. Like I said, you can actually do it I can do it in 5 minutes. Even when you're still learning, you could probably do it in 15. And I don't know, there's no way, even I can't cut that out in 15 minutes. And you've got a repeatable, nice, clean mask. And you can basically do anything with it. It's left to your imagination. The machine will scan pretty much anything. It's up to you what you want. It just gives you another dimension to your painting. You can even use it just to do stripes and stuff. It will do it. Well worth looking into. It's definitely a good trick in my arsenal. I paint a lot, and it just makes it so much easier to do it. Just makes it simple. So there's your first tip on how to do vinyl masks using the Brother Scan and Cut SDX 1000 in this instance. There's other ones too, the Cricut, Cameo, Silhouette. There's slight differences, but they all do pretty much the same thing. I think they're well worth having. It certainly is for me, and maybe one or two of you might be interested in giving it a roll. In the meantime, I'm Tony from Hearns. Thanks for watching.